right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Right here, we are working on, well, I don't know, 1960 something model Ford T bucket rat rod Munster mobile. I think this is like a 65, 66, to be honest with you. I haven't gotten into the brakes yet, but as far as what kind of drums are on there, what spring set, shoes, so on and so forth, so I'm not really sure. That's really how I'll tell what this chassis is. I mean, yes, I can look at the frame. Well, no, I can't because it's glued over. Can't even look at the frame stamp. So it's kind of on what's left of the car to know what the car is. And if you know Volkswagens, crapshoot if anything's original. So with that said, first thing I'm going to do is completely disregard that it doesn't have a throttle pedal because we know it has a broke cable. So that's going to be easy. What I'm going to be doing in this episode from nose to tail, I guess, and we'll work the middle in betwixt the two. I want to put a new master on this thing. Looking at the master that's on it, it looks like it's a bus master. And if you didn't know, I think bus masters are like 22 millimeter. It's a single master. They're a really big bore. So with that said, if this is running, well, obviously factory brakes, wheel cylinders, the bore for the master is too big, or say the same size as the bore in the wheel cylinder. So that's what my pedal feel I was feeling, or what I'm thinking the pedal feel I'm feeling is. Basically, you're putting a lot of effort into it to do nothing. What you need is a smaller master, master bore, or you need bigger wheel cylinder bores or disc brakes. Anywho, digressing, regressing. The master, what I'm thinking, is undersized or oversized for the brake wheel cylinders that's on the car. So I have I'm going to keep it a single. Like I said, I'm working with the customer on price-wise. He wasn't expecting to have it here still. But while it's here, he's going to get what I feel done, or what I feel should be done to get it reliable done. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'm just going to put a 17 millimeter bore master in this thing, single pot. And also because I think the reason they used the bus master is because it has bus dune buggy, you know what I'm saying, has a reservoir that's built onto the top. Typical single masters, I think I have one behind me, actually out of my gear. They have that rod that goes in. They don't have a cup on the top. So with that said, we're going to convert one of these, well, a brand new one, into, well, good thing I have a wheel switch. No, the wheel switch works on this. Anyway, I have a spare wheel switch if I need a brake light switch. Digressing, regressing again. The hell was I saying? Yeah, we're going to convert because it is a remote reservoir, but I have to, on the early models, it's a steel tube that goes from there to, under your hood. We don't have that option. So I got I think a Willwood remote reservoir, and I'm just going to make that work, put it somewhere that's going to work. Probably in the car, doesn't really matter. Just got to find a place to mount it, locate it, and be happy wherever the hell I'm going to put it. And then spring-loaded pushrod tubes. Again, is it going to be a permanent fix? No, it's going to last a while. But this thing is the Exxon Valdez. It is puking oil no matter where it goes. The oil cooler looks dry, and it looks like it's coming from the top. So when I do the oil cooler, when I do the pushrod tubes, because you got to take the rockers out and the pushrods themselves out to put spring loads in, you'll see that. I did a video on it already. I'm going to just double check the torque of the head because it does look like it's weaving around the cylinder bores. Yeah, the bores where the cylinders go into. It looks like it's leaking around the cylinders as well, but the pushrod tubes are definitely leaking. So we're just doing a stopgap to hopefully not make this thing leak as much as it currently is, I guess is what I'm getting at. Make it enjoyable till, correct repairs are going to get done. I'll get more into that later. Like I said, it's not the 100% correct repair, but also it's going to save you a ton of money putting those things in. Like I said, working with the customer. But anyway, let me get this thing up, get you guys drug in, let's swap out a master. I'm hoping this thing's going to be semi-easy because see, there's nuts on it. And I'm hoping I don't have to crawl in and out of this car because that's going to be fun. Anyway, join me when this thing's in the air. That was a terrible ramble I just did. right, guys. First thing being, the first thing you do before the second thing is let me get this wheel off so I can see what I have going on, or more access. Backwards. Well, this thing doesn't have a speedometer. That's fine. Yeah, like I said, I could open this drum up, see what springs we got, but just going on the size of it. Oh wait, no, maybe there's an earlier one. Again, really hard to tell on Volkswagens what you're working on until you actually get into it. There's no real defining characteristics because everything pretty much interchanges. I mean, yes, this is a link, link pin, king and link pin, whatever you want to call it, front end. It's not a ball joint. So I know it's what, 67? So it'd have to be, what, 66 and earlier? Wide 5 car, wide 5 drums. So, yeah, not really sure what the hell I'm working on. I just know that I'm working on something that's a Volkswagen. Yep. But yeah, like I said, reason we're doing this, or I'm doing this, is the, I'll bring in. Because it's a fiberglass car, I get nothing to stick things to. I'm not going to say definitely. Can you see? Yeah, this guy right here, the Master, because it has the reservoir on top. It's really hard to get you in, but I'm assuming this is a 22 millimeter, or it's a Busmaster. They're quite bigger, and like I said, to have correct braking, there's not even a lack of better terms, but ratio to pedal effort and wheels doing things, ideally you need the Master to be smaller than your wheel cylinders, brake caliper, so on and so forth. If you ever have a firm pedal, like a super firm pedal, it feels like you're like just smashing it and the car is not stopping. You either have locked up wheel cylinders. Case in point, I do have wheel cylinder stuff like this, if this doesn't fix it, but I'm thinking it's the Master, just looking at it. Yeah, I've locked up wheel cylinders, because obviously, when you get air in the system, your pedal doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's really soft and you have hardly any braking. But when you're standing on it, it's like super firm and it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Well, you have either wheel cylinder issue, which typically isn't that case, just due to the fact that, you have 4 of them. One of them will be doing something. You would have a little more give. Or in case in point, like if the front end's not working, like if this wheel's not working, but that wheel is, and you step on the brakes, well, your wheel's just gonna, you're gonna go NASCAR real quick into something. Vice versa, if one wheel cylinder on the other side is not working on a steer axle. So like I said, just looking at this, I'm just thinking it's an oversized Master for the wheel cylinders that are installed, so we're gonna swap that. I am doing a lot of rambling, but man, I don't even have a good plan. I'm just hoping the lines cooperate, because I do not want to run new lines, mainly the front to rear. If you saw, it is pretty not the best. Oh wow, that one's really bad. All right, we might be making one line. Well, driver to passenger, Master to passenger side, it's like hard 90 up. You got the nut, and then there's like no back off space. So that one should be fun. And it looks like someone replaced it. I mean, that's a newer line. It's just terrible. The other ones look original. I don't mind replacing the front lines because, well, they're here. The front to rear is always a pain in the ass, because if you watch any of my videos, especially when I do brakes, I do run a full front to rear line. I don't do, those compression fittings. If the line is good enough, I will put a union in. Only safe way to connect to brake lines, because you got flare and fitting kind of thing. I will run a union. I think I have some right here. I probably don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah, an actual brake union. Flare goes this side, flare goes that side, nuts hold it together. It's not a compression fitting where you slip fit and then you're relying on that ferrule to hold stuff in. They're not really good under pressure, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, with my rambling aside, let me start trying to tear this master out. Let me get some wrenches. They look like they should be 11s. I know it sucks, you guys can't see. I got to cut a bunch of these zip ties out of the way. And then also, oh please, thank you for holding. Now that I am obviously touching the braking system on this car, I am gonna, well, I told the owner I'm gonna address any, say, maybe possible safety concerns I have with the wiring. Main reason I didn't drive it the first time. And I'm not gonna say that's the reason it's back, but I did not test drive this the first time. Just get out of the way. Because I'm gonna go be, because I'm actually going through this car, I will actually drive it and take it on a test drive. Again, oh, I got hurt. I got key not cleaning up. You have tools. I got a ratchet, 14 and 17. It's like I just did brakes, and I'm pretty sure it's because it's probably a 13. It's because I haven't cleaned up after my gear. Let me get some tools. I'll be right back. I'm doing a lot of rambling. You know, I was just saying to myself, it is awful dark in this corner. Then I looked up. That light, boop. I don't know how well it picks up on camera. That light's dying. So my nose camera lighting, direct light, is terrible. So that's awesome. But anywho, don't fall over. Use your legs. I'm gonna start ripping this thing out. I mean, it really doesn't do you any good. Just lights up the front of the car more. Just it's annoying that I can stare at that. I don't know, because that light, where are we? That light is the same as those guys. And if you see the difference, those are bright as hell. Same thing, I got another one over there. So, looks like I gotta get another light. I don't know if you guys run a shop or have shop or just are hobbyists. One of the biggest expenses as a shop owner, just gonna throw this out, at least in my experience for doing this, is just general maintenance on your building. Now, if you're, say, I don't know, I guess leasing, you got a landlord. So you have a problem. Not really a big deal. If you have a good landlord, they should take care of it for you. In my case, I own everything. So I can't call and say, oh, this is not working. Please replace a light fixture. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for me. I'm honestly surprised all these, except for the main roof lights, all the lights I have in the shop are actually from my electrician friend. So they were used to begin with. Ooh, that was nice and semi-loose. Let me hedge my bets on this and put a little looby-doob on it. As my friend Puddin would say. Deep Creek, not sponsored, but honestly probably my favorite. Don't know why, it seems like I've had more success with breaking stuff loose than with that than anything else. It actually seems like it works. That could be, one of them placebo effects. Man, whoever installed this master, I'm a fan of. I'd buy him a beverage. Just due to the fact that they're not moon tuned. They're actually just installed, which makes my life so much easier. Say this in my videos. When you put in master, wheel cylinders, what have you, snug plus like a quarter turn. They only are, you look at torque specs, don't hold it to me, but I think they're only like 15 foot-pounds, which is nothing. Basically 15 foot-pounds. Anyone could push, you know, we'll do math. Say it's 6 inches long. 2 foot-pounds. So basically, on that end, when it stops moving with your finger, you got about 15 on that end. 16. I can't math. 3 on this end. 3 on a 6-inch wrench would be, almost said the F-bomb. Excuse me. 3, I don't math, I'm sorry. 3 pounds on this end off for a 6-inch wrench would be 18. So you'd be over torqued just by your finger. Boop. And leverage. Leverage is key to doing a lot of things. Mainly, it makes you look strong. And we know that I didn't get a body like this going to the gym. I don't know if I've said this. Brake fluid is hydroscopic, meaning it is water-based. If you lose, say, brake fluid, and you're in a pinch and don't have brake fluid, put water in. Put antifreeze in your system. Glycol, it's not the best for it, but you know what? It's not going to completely swell your seals and screw you up. If you put anything oil-based in, like hydraulic fluid, power steering fluid, oil, in general, it'll swell all your seals up, your brake line, so on and so forth, and you'd be rebuilding an entire system. But if you put something water-based in, hydroscopic, you have a better chance of flushing the system out with just, you know, normal brake fluid and not having to replace everything. Yes, you would have a contaminated brake system at that point, but at the end of the day, you might have dodged a more costly bullet. Granted, I would, me personally, replace everything again, just because contaminated system, but I would feel more comfortable running something that had, you know, something water-based in there. Oh, there's no clips for these. I'll put them on because I'm nice. This is, I'm taking off the front to rear right now, and it's the one that I would like to cooperate the most due to the fact that I do not want to replace it. But it seems like it's mildly cooperating, which is nice. It is warm. I need a fan. But let me continue getting this thing out, or at least the lines, and if any major developments happen, I will let you know. But it seems pretty, there we go. It seems like it's going to cooperate. Weird that it's not leaking. Usually I tend to leak a little bit. But let me get this thing out. I just can't see what I'm doing anyway. And kick a fan on because moist. I mean, hell, we're almost in October. And don't get me wrong, I like the weather. I get to drive, you know, my dumb cars a lot more. But it is warm. Does it even have brake fluid? That would have been a good thing to check. Oh, yeah, yeah, some. Master is basically dry. That wouldn't be the hard pedal issue, just due to the fact that, well, it's working. But anyway, let me keep on keeping on. I'll be right back. All right, developments. As always, let me show you what's going on right now. It's going to be fun. Zoom in. I don't know if you can tell, but you probably can. I think I said it already. There's nuts on this. This is a tapped block. M8 by 1.2 pi third pitch. Those are smaller, I can tell. Or it looks smaller. It's probably, you know, American thread. Well, the problem, whoa, zoom out. Dead cam. The problem right now is it's not a capture nut or a capture bolt on the inside. So loosening it is great. Everything's spinning. So I think the plan is I'm going to get some vice grips, vice grip the nut on the, or the head of the bolt on the inside, to make it a capture bolt, and then hopefully be able to spin these off, slide this master out, and slide the new one in, and then put the bolts back in. Because I don't have two hands, but I have multiple vice grips. Also, the master started leaking, so that's good. Not a lot, but it did something. All right, that's the plan. Let me struggle. You don't want to see me feng shui myself around in this car, I'll tell you that much. It is nice because it is a low sill, but it's also still terrible. I'll be back with updates. All right, got the master out. Actually, wasn't as much of a pain in the butt as I thought it was, but wheel cylinder, I don't know if you can tell, or wheel cylinder, the brake light switch, pulled it. Definitely has crud on it, which, I mean, it's fine, it worked, so clean it up and use it. But the inside of this master, which you probably will not be able to see in there, it's pretty crappy. So we might have, I'm not going to say just had a failed master, but wasn't helping things. There's a pokey thing. Come here. Come. What are you attached to? A line. Why is that attached to a line? Let me. There's another pokey thing. How free is it? Do it on camera. Oh, it's fine. All right, it was working. You got to test things, but yeah, I was able to pump fluid. So that's crap. Good crap, but still crap. Let me get the other one. Clean this guy up. Brake light switch. Remembered that time. Get this guy in, and then we'll install it, or I'll install it. Not too bad. The studs are staying where the studs are supposed to be. They're still in there. I got two vice grips holding the bolts, so we're just going to reverse the process, which should hopefully just be really easy. And again, no, I'm not bench bleeding this. I'm just going to throw it in, set it up the way I want to set it up, and then call it a day. I still have to, ooh, I got indigestion again. Still got to figure out where I want to put the thing. Reservoir. I want it convenient, obviously, but it has to be higher than the master itself. So let me think on that. Ponder, if you will, while I get this set up. Be right back. This master's in. Actually, wasn't too terrible. Hopefully it doesn't leak. All the lines are tight, so on and so forth. Reservoir. Like I said, this is just a remote reservoir from Willwood. Comes with this. It's a 1/4 inch nipple, barb thing on the bottom. That's what I'm getting at. The factory is basically 5/16. And I have a bunch of, if you watch my Gia video, I have a bunch of used tubing. Anyway, it's close enough to where I can hose clamp it and it'll be fine and not leak, because I need this side to fit the Volkswagen, which is, like I said, 5/16, which is bigger than 1/4. Anywho, I'm just gonna mount this thing right here. You can barely see, I know. Terrible, because under a car. It's gonna mount it here. Basically, it's gonna be whatever, on an angle, doesn't matter. It's a drum brake system. What it uses is what it uses. So the level could drop some and it's gonna come back up. It's not like a disc brake where the more your pads wear, the more fluid is needed in your reservoir. So it doesn't matter how the hell I mount this. I just need it so that the I can fill it, number one, and also number two, be able to look at it and not hit, well, mainly I can't mount it here because it hit the tire. The tire will hit it. So I'll just mount it here, be out of the way, be fillable, accessible, and it gives me a straight shot, doop, right to that master, right to the nipple on the master. So tape backside, get a little dirty to mark your holes. Use a Sharpie, but I don't know where one is. Good thing I don't have clean hands currently. And all I'm gonna do is basically kind of, yeah, that looks good. Ooh, I need more darkening hole place. I might need a Sharpie. Thought. So what do I do? 2 dots. Yep, that looks good. Know the orientation. The tape is cut to the bracket, so I can orientate this as I'm, say, orientating the bracket. Want it about that height. Stick this on, and I'm going to throw nut certs in, so I can, well, have this removable because I am going into glass. Because it's cut like that, I can hopefully line this up again. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So let me punch some holes, put some nut certs in, and bolt this thing down. I think an M6 will fit, so give me a second, be right back. Tech tip, if you're ever drilling in tight areas, buy one of these, 90s. Get you kind of where you need to go without really having to find dumb sized tools. All this is doing is holding up a master or a, you know what I'm going on about, a reservoir. So the intensity of what I'm doing as far as how, structural integrity isn't really that crucial. Otherwise, backing plates, so on and so forth. This just has to hold. You've probably seen these before, the inserters. You can get the pistol grip, which is great for locations like this. And then the typical ones are the 2-handle ones. Where you squeeze them. Once you hear the crushing fiberglass, you know it's seated. All right, let me get this, let me get some hardware. I didn't even see if those were, no, those are definitely M6 holes. But yeah, M6 is the biggest I can go with a pistol grip. Also, if you want to check hole size, boop, boop. All right, let me grab some hardware. I'll be right back. All right, zip this thing down real quick. Hopefully those holes are in the correct location. Start with that one because it looks like it's going to be more pain in the butt. Start with that one on a ratchet. It's almost like actually measured. Snuggish. You don't want to over tighten it, but now this is secure. Well, you can't see. Yeah. That guy's secure now. It ain't going anywhere. And I have a direct shot from the little tit nipple from there to there. So let me cut a piece of line. Like I said, I'm just going to use some of this used line. This is Volkswagen's blue, the cloth stuff. I have some, I don't use it. This is for brake masters, remote master cylinders. This came with the kit. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just gonna lob off some of this used stuff I have, which is brand new. I just used it to bleed my car and put it together. I need to change battery. I'll be back once I get this on. Pretty sure we're gonna have a problem immediately. Not gonna say I tried to jump the gun on doing what I'm doing, but, well, I'm a little antsy. Master is full. Problem right now is I need to be able to bleed this system. And I don't know if this bleeder is going to cooperate. It'll probably break. I am oh, wait, it moved. It either broke or it moved. I'm doing the nicest, gentlest left and rightsies as I possibly can. Well, looks like we're doing a wheel cylinder. This is why we order them. Anywho's, we'll put this cap right on. That is a bummer. But you know what? Comes with it. Alrighty, I gotta figure out how to get this thing apart. Should be straightforward. Pull this cap off. Because it's protruding. Let's see if we can just do this. I don't want him to go anywhere. Nope. I was hoping I can just, jiggle wiggle. I could not. I'm hoping just by having one wheel cylinder blown isn't going to be the end of the world. Because quasi-technically, the reason I started on this side is, stick my hand right on it, that's good. The system should be bled. I mean, it had brakes. We kind of technically didn't introduce air into the system. I know, yell all you want, but, oh, it's master's leaking. That's fine. It's overfilled, or the reservoir. And my cap's not on straight. Perfect. There we go. That sounded better. We technically did not introduce air into the system-ish. The reason I'm starting on this side is the highest point on the master. If you didn't know, there's 3 points on a single master, this one being driver front. So all the air should be here. If I bleed driver front wheel, kind of we'll bench bleed and get the air out of everything else. I've had plenty of success. This lock tab isn't even lock tabbing. That's good. I've had plenty enough success to be dumbly confident that this will work. I've also had plenty enough failures to know that this could be a terrible idea. It's either going to work or it's not, I guess is what I'm getting at. These studs make stuff very, very entertaining. Can I get my socket? Yes. Am I going to? Probably after I get really mad at this. Correct answer is no, I'm not going to get my socket. I'll get it for a reinstall for tightening purposes. Well, this was doing a lot. Like I said, that tab wasn't even bent down. This tab's bent. Still have all my hardware from my Gia. That's good. If I lose anything, we should be fine. If you haven't seen that video, I upgraded my personal car to disc brakes. So I still have all the lock nuts, jam nuts, everything else sitting up here. See now, swing axle cars are all the same. Cool. I have spare parts. I don't want the bearing. Well, maybe I do. There's a lock plate. You can see it move. That's not part of this bearing. But if it wants to stay, who am I? Who am I to tell it not to do something? All right, see now with those cone bearings? I'm thinking it's a later model. Not real sure. Still don't know at this point. Also, really don't care. Let's pull this off. All right, those are brand new brakes. That looks like a brand new wheel cylinder. This is all pretty much brand new stuff. Nope, still roller bearings over there. Oop, sorry. Drum seems a little fatter than mine. What does the inside look like without dumping stuff everywhere? I think the same. So 64-esque. All right, brake line. Ah, damn it. I don't want to loosen it. I'm scared. Yeah, looks like it has good hardware. Keepers are in good condition. You can actually look up this part number because, like I said, they're brand new. And see what it returns as far as what year they put on. And kind of narrow it down a little bit more. All right. I have a 10, I don't have a 13. I'm gonna pop this wheel cylinder. I have a 14, right? Hey, look at that. It's like I just did brakes on something. Man, you figure with as loose as all these lines are, that bleeder screw wouldn't have been smoked to Alabama. Nope, we're in Titan. Go the other way. Alright, that's on the loose. Pop that. All my vice grips are in the car. Super freaking duper. Ugh. Ow! Jeez! That hurt. There's a piece of freaking angle iron that comes off that door. That's fine. I don't use my bones anyway. All right. Undo the spring tension. By that, I mean take the spring off. Just gonna pop the shoes out of the way. Blow this off. Give it a little more, needs a little help. There we go. All right, let me find a wheel cylinder. I'm in a quasi-moral dilemma. This is a rear cylinder. And hold on, let me get my calipers and I'll show you. I can tell by looking, but I know camera really can't show that much. All right, this is a rear caliper, or not caliper, wheel cylinder. We'll just simply rough measurement on the body. There. And when I say rough, I mean rough. It's an inch. Or metric fans. Beep. I don't want fraction. The outside body's 27 millimeter. Let's see, front, that's a front. This is a rear. I don't have a was going to say I don't have a knife, but I am a man. I have hands. I can rip. Rear cylinder. Here, so there's no like funny business, I guess. 27 millimeter. Front cylinder are usually bore wise. I'm talking outside diameters, 27 millimeter. What the bore is, I don't know. This is a front. I'm not going to open it because it's brand new. But you might be able to see through the plastic. It's substantially bigger. Usually these are a 21 millimeter bore. Doesn't fit. And it ain't the plastic. $29. So we'll say 29, lock it down. To this little loosey-goosey. So with that said, what I am going to do is the right thing off. And I'm going to install a rear in the front, and I will tell you why. I think, personally, the reason that there are rear cylinders in the front of this car is, well, kit car, stupid light. There's no way around it. That's just how they are. I'm thinking they were trying to go for equal braking performance. So I'm assuming there's either going to be front cylinders in the back, greater, more stoppy clamping, because the weight's back there, or it has rear cylinders in all the car. Typically when I build like kit cars and stuff like that, I do not recommend putting disc brakes in the front. If I'm going to put disc brakes in anything, I put it in the rear because that's pretty much where all your stopping is. Cars like this, especially this one, it's so light in the front end, you'll lock them up. I don't know about you, but I like to stop without thinking. So if I have to say hypothetically panic stop, I don't want to panic stop and just slam into somebody. I think, or I'm hoping that's why it's like this. With that said, I have no qualms about, I didn't want to open this because, well, it was the front. Because I put the rear behind me. I have no qualms about putting a rear back in the front. You can argue with me if you want, but my math and logic is, I feel okay about it. Like I said, if I've never built, or have had to, of course it's an 8 now, if I've never dealt with this scenario before as far as braking goes, I would be more hesitant about it. About it, as my Canadian friends would say. Probably not. I just butchered. Oh, there's a front. Yeah. This is a brand new bad front. And this is, well, a brand new, hopefully good rear. Brand new bad. Substantial size difference. Like I said, this will apply more braking than this will. So going with the 17 Master. Now, caveat, if I knew what I know now, I would install front brakes in the entire car. One of my earlier videos on, a, whatchamacallit, dune buggy, I put jammer brakes in the car, and they had 3/4 inch jammers, cutter brakes, what have you. And well, the problem was with that, the rear wheel cylinders being tiny wouldn't do anything. You could pull, kind of like the braking on this car, pull like hell, and because the Masters were bigger than the wheel cylinders, they just wouldn't activate. So I ended up putting fronts in the rear of that car, and it worked fine. The pedal did go low Well, not low, but low, just because it was the master, meaning the brake cylinder, had to fill more of a cavity. So, not, like I said, not a, nothing I'm concerned about. You know, the whole thing with doing cars, trash. The whole thing with like doing cars, or you know, working on, I guess in my experience, the same car. It's all Beetle, what have you, Beetle, Gia, thing, bus. They're all the same. My benefit is because I work on the same car. I don't want to say I know how to cheat, but I have, I don't know, a better mental repertoire, Rolodex, on what should work and what shouldn't. Like I said, just dealing with this stuff for so long and knowing, you know, just how general what we're talking about right now is brakes, how brakes work, and it needs, you know, I have a 3/4 inch master feeding a wheel cylinder, and the wheel cylinder is only, let's say, 17 millimeter. It's not going to fly because you got 19 and 17 that don't work. You have to have 19, and wheel cylinder has to be bigger. So what's bigger than 19, 23, 22, 23, which would, I think I use a Super Beetle front end. I don't know. Oh, forward. I think I used one of a Super Beetle. It doesn't matter, it fit. Now you do get a little interesting when you start working on stuff like this, when you are size limited with your conversions. So I'm not going to say, well, obviously we know a bigger cylinder fits in the front of this, but if you're on a size constraint, like the wheel cylinder is bigger than the shoe. I don't think I've ever ran across that, but I'm just throwing this out there. If the wheel cylinder is bigger than the shoe, well, then you have problems because now it's not going to fit. Where's that spring? Also, if I want to kind of know, this is probably like a 65 and up. It has the longer pin. The early models have a smaller pin, shorter pin. Springs and stuff, I'm pretty sure are all the same. And it's just down to the pin size. And also the idiot who has to put the springs back on. Line the holes and click it in. There we go. All right, that's on. Bleeder screws out, that's fine. That's twisted. I'm going to see if tightening it will untwist it. And if it doesn't, I got to loosen the line, which I don't want to do. Oh, it does. Snug. Again, I want to get a little more froggy, but as long as we're turning left and right and that line's not corkscrewing, doing anything weird, I'm fine with it. The line looks fairly new too. Soft and supple, if you will. You watch this like from the 1980s. I can't even read a date stamp. But it's not dry rotted, cracked, or anything like that. So, all right, we got a wheel cylinder in. Like I said, I feel comfortable about putting a rear in front, and I'm assuming that's why they did it, is for braking performance. Now, caveat as far as how it's going to work with the smaller master, it should work just fine. Shouldn't be an issue. It actually should have better brakes now with even having four the same than it did with a big master. And this is kind of like in the beginning of the video. When I said the master was oversized, the master definitely was oversized to be running those brakes. So yeah, you were definitely pushing like crazy to have this car do something. I really need to go to, I don't know, Home Depot, the Freight of the Harbor, Lowe's, and get more half-inch drive hammers. Because I can never find them. All right, set torque, tight, and a bump. Boop. That lock plate makes me nervous. Because it's there, it's doing something. I mean, it could be doing F all for all I know, but, well, whatever. Now let's install this correctly. That'll go on. I could put this on. Wipe my hands because everything's all greasy now. Ugh. Should add a better one. Snug this down. This one I am going to hit with the impact so it can sneak up on the other one and I don't tighten the other one. You really don't want that back one to move. There we go. And now with the half-inch hammer I just found, let me actually stake those things. I really hate, hate's a strong word, not like this style of lock plate. Also the double jam nut. But, I mean, it works. Not jam, yeah, double jam nut and a lock plate. There we go. Make sure she's tight. Should be good. These guys, they sell updated. And I actually, my Gia video is what I tried to run. These dudes are for, if I'm not dumb, are for these spindles. I don't have enough stick out. But yeah, you eliminate so much and you can just run these like the modern style. So what? Ball joint front end. To me, it's those are like a safety upgrade. All right, that's good. Where's a dust cap? Oh, nope. That is my dust cap. I know this because of the way that it is. Slam that on. That's on. That's good. All right, let's go back to what I was trying to do and bleed one brake. Because again, if I can get one brake, hopefully the rest of them are going to come around. Because like I was saying, this is at the top of the circuit. So therefore, gravity should work. I should not have put that on. Okay, reason I say this is for some reason, we'll find out. We'll find out how much this is going to annoy me when I go to bleed this. This style brake sucks at bleeding. I'm just going to throw that out there. You guys are not the only ones that would probably complain that saying I cannot get a pedal and change out the master 1,000 times. If this does not bleed, what I'm going to probably do, and I think I might have showed this in my Gia or not, I'm not sure when it was still drum brake. What you're going to have to do, let's take this all apart again. Unbolt your backing plate from your spindle, rotate it, because the bleeder on these things are on the side, so air gets trapped in the top sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it does. And, well, you can't get all the air out, so you got to rotate the entire backing plate, bleed it, and put the backing plate back. If you ever have problems bleeding, what is that for? Oh, if you ever have problems bleeding your brakes, I guess. Like I said, hopefully I don't have to go through that extent, and it's just going to cooperate, because that would be the most ideally of the situation. Yo. High-tech bleeder. All right, that bleeder's open. So hopefully, let's see what this does. All stuff moved. I don't know if you can see, but bubbles are coming out. More bubbles. More bubbles. I got bubbles and fluid. Something crawling on my neck. Super. Or a hair. More bubbles. Bubbles. And all I'm doing is just going to keep pumping. Easy pressure. Until I stop seeing any bubblage. And like I said, I'm hoping just by doing this brake, I will successfully not have to do the rest of them. All right, pick it up some. All right, that's in. Just tighten that. Just took off my head. All right, that's snug. What do we got? Oh, there's a pedal. Not telling me much. Let's see if we can lock them. I will probably go around and bleed all the brakes, just, you know, for, say, safety, because that's apparently a thing. All right, brakes are, well, locked. I just got my rod in there. Grabbing. Come on. All right, we're gonna bleed them, but we definitely have a brake on the front. The rears are, well, locked. Locking good. So, all right, we'll bleed to the other front. We'll probably end up changing out that cylinder. Or it could be out of adjustment. But we at least are, well, let's say, going in the right direction. Or that cylinder might not even be working. Try to get a little bit more tension. Brake. Stay. Oh, all right, that is locked. That's locked. Things should be out of adjustment then. I'm not even gonna mess with it. Rear should be locked. Oh, I can't even move them. All right, the rears probably do have fronts in them. All right. Not gonna mess with driver or passenger side. I have another wheel cylinder if I need another wheel cylinder, but at this point, because, well, it's working, I'm gonna give it a quick blip because I have it held down. might have saw some air went out. Other thing about holding the pedal down is if you're doing it one-handed or one, like I am, you if you lock the pedal down, you can bleed them. Basically, I'm just building pressure, opening it and shutting it. Same as if I had another hand. Oh, I need another hand because this one ain't working. That's locked. Got more leverage on the passenger side, obviously. So we'll give more leverage on the driver's side. Ooh, that is locked. All right, I'm going to try to bleed the passenger side. Because if I don't, what's going to happen is I'm going to have a hell of a pull on the driver's side. Back lock. Back's locked. All right. Going to try to get the air out of this side. I'm hoping this bleeder cooperates. It doesn't look like it's going to. But we've been surprised before. As my impact gun falls, probably. There's a light somewhere. All right. I say this in my videos. This is why I don't, again, drive things that I don't work on. Like, give my blessing to, I guess, lack of better terms. All right. Watch the beam. Also, it's hit here. That should be folded down. Anyway, digressing, regressing. Watch this beam. Use, I guess, this line as an orientator or that as an orientator. I don't know how else to tell you, but that whole lower beam is loose. The bad thing is there's lock nuts in here, or the same thing we put on the wheels. There's plates that bend up when this is tight. Well, they're actually installed. So this beam was installed loose. Super. Where's a pry bar? Let's see if I should be able to do it with a pry bar. Yeah. You might be able to see a little bit of motion there. But the problem is it wants to suck in. Oh, almost punched myself in the face. That's what I get for not making a sandwich for myself. That was sexist. I'm sorry. But yeah, that is terrible. I mean, you can see, look at this one. See the gap moving? Hell, you see the tire moving? That's the whole control arm, everything. Beam, just flexing everything. Again, I am leery about, and I say this in all seriousness. When I say I don't drive things for reasons, there's a reason behind it. Usually it's because I don't know if the front end's going to come loose. Didn't work on it in the first video. Didn't work on the brakes in the first video. I didn't like the brakes. Wasn't in here for brakes, and I didn't like the wiring. Wiring seems a little more legit than I thought originally. But that front end, scary. And, well, the brakes were scary. We're unscaring the brakes, and yeah, just keep it on. Anyways, let me do exactly what I did to that side on this side. And I'll bring in if I see any developments, but hopefully it should be just straightforward. This is taking way too long. just got the drum off. It's actually good that we're doing this side. The reason I say this is the cylinder's blown. It didn't, the pads aren't that bad to where I think it just, I think this wheel cylinder, just on the amount of lack of stuff in here, I think this wheel cylinder just pretty much popped. It's not that bad. Typically, I replace the shoes and all that stuff, but these don't look like they got contaminated too bad. The back of the drum's dry, so I'm not too concerned about the shoes on this one. Typically, the reason I replace them is because D-lam. You don't want them to obviously come apart, but that was the problem. I would say I'd just pop it open, but because I wet everything, you can see it was leaking. But that seal's gone. So it's a good thing we ordered them, or I ordered everything, and we can replace it. So let me finish cleaning this up and swap out that cylinder, then we'll have brakes will be fine. I'm happy, I will say, that I was not happy with the braking performance on this side. Because, well, like I said, the reason I didn't drive the car is because I didn't like the brakes. Well, and the wiring. Yeah, these are barely even scuffed in. Brakes and wiring. The front end, that's just kind of there. It's not really reassuring. Like I said, the pins are in there, or the lock plates are in there. Also, the lock plate on this side was screwed up. Sort of had a tab on one side. There's a tab on this side. That side's kind of missing. I have one. Reinstall it. Actually came off my car. It was new at the time. It'd be fine for reuse. But yeah, let me clean this up. Get a wheel cylinder in. Bleed the brake. And yeah, get back to you. All right, guys. It's been a few days, just due to the fact on a few things. One, hurt the hell out of my hand, so I'm less dexterous than normal. Also, I cut the video, or the last scene of having this thing torn apart and putting it back together because the receiver died. And well, you guys may or may not want to hear me, so that's where I'm at with that. But the brakes are in, they're bled. Everything's reassembled. Like I said, it has been a few days. So I'm hoping, without, camera thing, we're just going to take my stick, push the pedal down, and see what we get. Well, it's immediately a firm pedal, so that's good. Wedge it. And they were both semi... Oh, there, I can rotate that one. And it's about the same amount of effort on this one to rotate. So the fronts are grabbing hair in the mouth. That light being out still annoying me. Still doing about the same amount of effort. Brake lights do work, so on and so forth. Everything is, we'll say, wrapped up and working on this. Also, if the volume's a little loud right now, or the audio sounds distorted, I have a new mic. So I apologize, I gotta dial it in, so on and so forth. It's even turned down, it's hot. So there's that. All right, what we're gonna get into now is, well, I'm over here. What I'm gonna get into now, get the car up in the air, pull the valve covers, and put in the pushrod tubes. All right, guys, first thing is being, well, first, pull the valve cover. We're gonna start on this side. Like I said, the valve covers, they're not leaking. I was in here, check the valves and adjust the valves. I know they're okay, or okay enough. But after, come on, But after all this fun, I'm probably going to have to redo them. All right. Might as well put the other side. Oh, shit. Now, I don't know how loud this fan is in compared to my other mic, which I also, after it died, I forgot to charge it, so it's on charger now, but you might be able to hear a clickety-clack. The valves are fine. Just going off this. Looking at it here, I'll bring you in, but looking at it, you can tell the engine has, I don't know, sat for a bit. Just the amount of neglect and crud that's built up on these things. So, a couple of good heat cycles and good oil changes should clear up most of this sludge. All right, next, because I already got it set up. Pull the rockers. Yeah. Now you can pull them however you want. You can TDC the engine, do, you know, drop hardware. It's really dealer's choice. Put those over there. I'm going to replace these nuts anyway with a flange serrated. So I really don't care. Get rid of the washer kind of thing. There we go. One lovely rocker shaft. We'll just set this in a box. Conveniently I have right there. And the cup that I already lost. By cup, I mean, we're just going to shove them in the valve cover. All right, again, I don't care what side's what. I don't mark them as long as they're round and not like, you know, banana shaped. It doesn't matter. Factory aluminums, so these guys can stay together. Boop. Right here. That cover plate, just pop it off what I just did, and you get boop, 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 boop. And you can see probably how delightful those tubes are now. So I think we have a combination between leaky head, leaky block, but mainly the pushrod tubes are soaked on all the sides. So, like I said, reason we're doing this isn't because it's going to say 100% fix the issue we have going on, but it's going to dramatically slow down the leak. The other side's not as bad. So, I mean, I guess he has got that going for him. All right, next up. Channel locks. Num, 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 num. Grab your tube and just pull your tube out. That's it. Simple. Hey, let's see how proactive I can be. Garbage can. By that I mean dustpan. Yeah, just crush it, turn it, so they pop right out. I don't know how froggy I am, but right there is the aluminum ones. I've used those. I can't remember if I've ever used the nylons or not. I'm gonna see how well the nylons go, and if they're gonna be, you know, a pain in the, you know what, I might just open that pack and charge them for what the nylons cost. Because like I said, we're trying to do this because we know it's probably going to get done again. So I'm trying to, you know, keep the cost down as much as I possibly can. It's not a real sales tactic. I mean, well, it is. But it's more or less by the way, I'm going to probably be in here again. And, well, I don't want you to buy good stuff. Not even good stuff. Good stuff's the wrong word. I don't want you to buy the most expensive stuff due to the fact that if I am in here again, you're probably going to go through the whole makeup and get a, a top end rebuild done. And you're going to get factory tubes put in, or, aluminum tubes, because I like the aluminum tubes better than these push rods, or the sealers. These are stop gaps. Yeah, these are leaky push rod tubes, stopgap. They're not made, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. I know people who, actually actively on brand new engines install these. Why, I have no idea, but they do. And, who am I to really judge how you want to build your engine? At the end of the day, you're doing it. Now, if you're I will judge if, say, you're an engine builder, and unless the client specifically wants this style pushrod tube for some unknown reason, and you're installing them, I will judge. Well, trust me, I'm not a very judgy person, but judging is where judging is due. I will do. So I gotta get my wounded hand up in here, and we'll end up, because the everything's exposed, it's gonna get another oil change again, because inevitably crap will fall in here. I don't care how, nice you are. You see the condition of the block. It's not the best. The rear main on this thing is leaking. I mean, it just has, it's oil. Transaxle's leaking, rear main's leaking. It is, this engine does need to come out, like I said, but the time and the place is not currently now. This is, let's fix it better than it was. And for it just to have, say, brakes, this wiring is, I mean, I like what they did. A lot of, I'm going to say a lot of what I would do, but they ran trailer harness. They ran a lot of, instead of a bunch of single wires, they ran a bunch of trailer wiring harness, which is good, because you only have to pull one and get, like, say, 4 to 7 wires versus pulling 4 to 7 wires individually. Watch the bus video. Actually, any video. Watch my Gia video. I pull wire harnesses. While I'm here, I'm gonna try to clean this block up a little bit better. Here we go. Cylinder head, other seal, oil seal. So, boop, if we're working on that side, boop, if we're working on this side. Kind of what I showed you, but that's the instructions you get. Metal ring, it goes on like so. You would not believe how much this is killing my hand. Get that seated, get the new tube, get the shoot match lined up, load it, get it cocked in where its bore is, and here, this is kind of how I'm setting them. Get the, where it needs to go into the block, it's just cattywampus to say this, so cylinder 1, that'd be intake, 2, cylinder 2, intake, and then you just get a wrench. No, one more draw. Oop, too many. gently grab it. You can press it on itself at that point and rotate it in. Wiggle, wiggle. Might have to grab the other side. And just guide it in. Like I said, give her a little twist after. Helps anything seat that wasn't seated. That looks bad. There we go. And just keep working your way down the line. So let me get these things installed and I'll be right back. Ooh, I gacked that one a little bit. Not a big deal. All right, yeah. Like I said, just keep working your way down. They're straightforward. This is kind of like I said, this is the difference between doing a this is, I guess, the professional way of, I know someone who could do it cheaper. That's perfect. Yeah, this is, like I said, a professional way of, I know someone who could do it cheaper. It's because I am doing it cheaper. I'm not, this is it's a correct fix in a Band-Aid sort of way. I don't know else how to put that. Would I much rather have, would I much rather, you know, take the heads off, so on and so forth, replace the cylinders, rebuild the engine? Yeah, of course, it's money in my pocket. But at the end of the day, if a few hundred bucks, sorry, if a few hundred bucks will keep this car on the road, we're going with a few hundred bucks. But if a few $1,000s would be, well, I got to think about it, and it's going to be parked for, you know, the inevitable future. What service did I do to the customer, or mainly to the car? I say in all my videos, I like seeing these things on the road. I like keeping them on the road. It's kind of why I'm in this business. But I also don't need to chase, like I said, I have discretion, so I don't need to chase every dollar, every repair, everything. If there's a stopgap, another reason I do YouTube, because if there's a stopgap, I will take advantage of it. Boy, this hand is something. Yeah. Cylinder 2 to cylinder 1. Pair of pliers. Rotate that in. Make sure that rotates in. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Ooh, wiggle, 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 wiggle. And there. It's another one in. Just by chit-chatting with you, it's been 12 minutes and we got 3 in. Rod tubes are in, but I opened a can of worms. Yep, sure did. So going to check, you know, while I'm here, I can check 4 of the 8 head bolts. The other 4 are hiding up there and I can't get to them because engine shroud and, well, so if it's a single port, I might be nice and take it off, but it's not. So, or if it's dual port, it might be nice and, anyway, torque wrench set. The head is loose. So, we're gonna not take it to spec. Wow, that is loose. Why are they so loose? Because we know the tops are bad. If the bottoms are loose, we know the tops are loose. I put it to you that way. It's just gonna go in my recommendations. This thing needs a, I mean, yeah. And I wish I was, said I was some shady mechanic and, man, that is super loose. Wish I was, say I was a shady mechanic and loosened those, but I didn't. Well, it's tighter. Might start easier. And then argue in the comments, this thing's gonna, about what I just did, don't care. Put it this way, could have checked it, and it could have, I need a torque wrench again too. Could have checked it, and it could have been, you know, say, fine. And well, no issues. Or I could have just did what I did to check it, because like I said, I have access because the rocker shaft's off. And it's, as it is, loose as hell. And now I know. In other words, if I never checked it, I never would have known if that head was loose. I guess is what I'm getting at. All right, rockers. Putting them on just as they were. They were working. So no need to overcomplicate it. Same side, same side. Only difference is I'm switching out the hardware to flange nut. Again, argue in the comments. Final torque. You know, don't you actually scratch that. If you know your electric ratchet, use your electric ratchet, but don't use it to say, you know, tighten it down all the way. Click, click. Good. All right, let me get the other side in and be right back. Gonna have to go through, readjust all the valves just due to the fact that, well, now the head moved in, so therefore the push rod should have moved out, which would have made more clearance. Yeah, they all should be loose now, I guess is what I'm getting at. The fun things I do. But yeah, that head was severely loose. A lot of times, just gotta change the oil. A lot of times on Volkswagens, horizontally opposed, whatever. Nature of this kind of beast. If you have a hard start, you have a few issues. One, timing. Start with that. Two, ignition. If you have good timing, good ignition, you know, so on and so forth, spark, fuel, air, and you have a weird hard start, like cranks a lot, I bet you your head's loose. So, all right, let me keep on keeping on, get the other side button up. I'll adjust the valves, set them to 6, and we'll, you know, fire this thing up. Change the oil. Ooh. Sucks because I just changed the oil. Valves are buttoned up, valve cover's on, everything's good. Only thing I don't have is any more oil, I don't think. I am completely out. Mainly because, well, I wasn't expecting to do a second oil change on this. All right, so the plan is now, got to do an oil change. Get that off. Do an oil change tomorrow morning, and we should be good. Should be good to fire it. Like I said, I want to get new oil in this thing just because I know I probably put stuff in the block. Granted, it's not anything really, but it's more or less the contamination of just shooting brake clean in there. Because it happens. So, do that. Also, I got to put the heat shields back on under here. I can button that up right when I turn you guys off. Actually, I'll leave them off for a run up just to check on leaking. And then if it's hopefully everything good, well, then I'll throw those heat shields on. And I think the last thing after the run up and all that stuff is throttle cable and pedal, which should be pretty good. I think I said I'm just putting on a roller pedal, roller ball, roller wheel. One of these guys, because it's going to address the lack of throttling that I have, throttling. The lack of pedal. So this is going to fix what I have going on. So, cheap fix. One of these, hell of a lot cheaper than getting a new swing arm, a new turny-do base pedal. Actually, I have all the stuff because I was going to put, confidentially, I was going to put in a factory pedal in my car, and then I was like, nope, we'll do this. Mainly because my arm was screwed up, and it was going to take me like a week and a half, I think, to get that, the arm that goes to, anywho, this is a cheaper option. I went with a cheaper option. I also spent the premium and got the pedal that bolts on, so I actually have a pedal and not the roller, because I do hate rollers, but people like them. They're not bad. They're just not, it's more of a style thing than a functionality thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that, or at least on my boost. So, with that said, oh man, I hope my other mic will be on, because I know this thing is giving me, I can't dial down the volume low enough on the receiver, and so it sounds like it's very distorted. Or not distorted, it just sounds electronic. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know. I have so many different kind of wireless mics. This one's actually the better one that I have. I might start using it on my GoPro because it sounds better, the voice quality. The other one I always use, my clip-on, love it for the style, but the sound just sucks. And I don't know if it's just because I film off of a normal camera. So I don't know if the sound quality with all the mics, different style mics I have, are better if you film through a phone. Because I have the receivers to clip into phones. Maybe I should try that. See if I get a different sound quality. Because if that's the case, I'm just going to buy a cheap phone and start recording off of a phone. Be a lot easier than playing around with a camera, I guess. Less worried about breaking a phone. One problem is I can't see myself in the phone. And I don't like selfie. Because, no, I can mirror the image after. I don't know, I'm just thinking. Anywho, oil change. We'll fire it up, see what it sounds like, and replace the throttle cable and hopefully take it on the road. Throttle's going to be a fun one because I got to take out the cluster. I know, can of worms, but you got to take the cluster out to put the pedal in. I could just cop out and put in the factory cable again, but I'm not. Join me in the morning. News is it fired right up. right, I don't know when my mic cut off, but thing runs good. I didn't adjust the idle, or I just had to adjust the idle. The fuel setting's the same. Didn't mess with the carburetor at all, with the little hiccup that the grease zerk on the pedal was one issue. Hanging the throttle, well, that is fine. Last thing, I'm happy I checked my levels weren't coming in. Last thing I have to do is, because you might have asked yourself, well, last thing I need to do is actually take this thing for a test drive. But the last thing I need to do is actually tighten this front beam so it stops, you know, trying to fall out of the car. So let me get this thing up in the air, tighten some bolts, and yeah, hopefully get her on a test drive. The electrical at this point, still not my standards, but talked to the owner about it. He said it was fine to drive. I don't feel it's going to blow up the car, nor basically he said don't worry about it if something falls out, like if I rip a harness out. I'm going to, but it seems like it's safe enough. It doesn't seem like it's actually going to go anywhere. It's just, like I said, not to my tier of standards looking at it, which, you know, I hate wiring too, but I don't know. Anyway, rambling. What is in that container? I don't know. Anyway, rambling. Let me get this beam tightened. Obviously, we're not going, if you look outside, it's dark out. We're not going for a test drive tonight. So I might do the correct thing and procrastinate. Do the right thing and procrastinate and just take it out, well, tighten the beam tomorrow, right before we take it out. Because I still got to move, you know, everything else. And I got another customer coming, so that's good. Right. Oh. Did I somehow lean on the mute button? Is that what I did? Because there's a button on here. Red button. I think I just muted myself. So there's that. But all right, let me, like I said, I'm just going to take care of this in the morning. I'm probably going to pop that valve cover, see which one's ticking, because it is ticking louder than I'd like it. Not going to lie. So might open that, let it cool down, open up and tighten it up. Actually doing it hot because it's clicking so hard or so loudly might be easier to find. Just going to roll over the engine, see which one doesn't feel right, and adjust accordingly. So join me tomorrow when hopefully we'll tighten the beam and get on the road. A lot more confident in it this time. All right, this is the last one. Now this only torques to 40-ish. And we still have, I mean, they're going in, but they're still a little loosey-goosey. They feel much better with the threads though. At least being able to run in. All right. Call that snuggish. You grab a breaker bar and see if it's tight now. Hey, would you look at that? The car moves and the beam doesn't. Got a little flex out of there. All right, let me get a torque wrench on that. Where's my big guy? Of course, I don't have a. What are you? 21, 19, wrong size. Why do I have so many 21s? Well, what the hell, Over? You don't belong there. What are you? Yes. All right. And the back. Torque wrench. 1/2-inch drive for leverage. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be torqued to. This is 60. Hey, I need that. Come here, socket. All right, it's over torqued. I just have it at 60. You can see, click, click, was loose still, now clicked, click. And also a little bit extra. So, all right. Front end, I'm happy with, isn't gonna hopefully fall out. I say hopefully, lately, it shouldn't. I'll say it shouldn't lately. Well, the bumper's not moving, the car is, but the bumper's not moving, the wheel's not moving. It's at least attached. I feel okay driving it. I think I have to put one zip tie on this thing. Because I don't think I put, yeah. Gotta put zip tie in the wiring harness. Because I remembered I disconnected this. So let's reattach this harness. I do not want to get blamed for it, well, going somewhere. There we go. Brake fluid is still at the line I made. This wire, owner doesn't know what it's for. Some yellow wire. He doesn't know what it's for. I don't know what it's for. It's not connected to anything, so we're gonna do the right thing and just keep it not connected to anything. All right. Damn it. All right. All right, guys, last thing I'm gonna need to do, or last thing I have to do, still hate the light's not working. We'll take this thing out. Like I said, oil's been changed. Brakes are working. I need my flashlight. I've lost a couple on a test drive. Oil's changed, brakes are working. Throttle cable's installed. I think, yeah. You know what? Because I'm just a nice, splendid, all-around nice, and splendid all-around nice guy. Let's put a little goo in the old ball joints, or these things. Kingpins, link pins, and the front end. All right, guys. Excuse the weird filming angle. It's pretty bad. I have you ratchet strapped to the seat currently. I'll show you the setup on the big cam whenever we get back. This is going to be a short-ish test drive. The only thing I want to make sure is the brakes are working as they should. And obviously the accelerator pedal doesn't snap, break, fall off, so on and so forth. We should be fine. Again, not a fan of roller pedals. All right. I moved everything out of my way. So let's see what this can do. Yeah, this will probably just be quickish around the block. If there's going to be issues, there's going to be issues. Like I said, just want to make sure the brakes work. Everything I did well, is good. And I actually just want to drive it this time to hopefully give a little more peace of mind to myself. All right, join me on the road. All right, surprisingly enough, sorry about the wind noise, but it's cruising all right. I did notice we do have a slight pull in the brakes. I'm thinking we have a drum. Yeah, slight driver side pull. But it's running fine. Brakes feel good. Like I said, other than the, like I said, you can say it's a little bit of a wander. Nothing I'm concerned about. Might be a sticking, warped drum pull is what it feels like. But the brakes work fine. I can't see anything. Engine sounds healthy. It's not blowing up or anything like that. So, alternator's whining. I can hear it, but I mean, if this is accurate, it's 14.4 on charging. I don't know if that's high-pitched weep is picking up, but it's definitely doing something. The dumb shit I drive. I mean, she moves. It actually has some power. I think the choke timing's just a little off because there is a weird dead spot on it. But I also don't know if it's a choke timing issue or if it's just a cold engine issue as far as the cylinder heads coming into play. Yeah, you might be able to see it. It is a little darty. I will, when I get back to the shop, I will try to bleed, just save myself that, that brake one more time. You know what? Yeah. Let's just head back. Brakes are working. Throttle feels good. I'm just going to jump on, check out that brake, make sure it's good, or hell, maybe it came out of adjustment. And the brakes actually don't feel that bad. Second pull's good. Yeah, you can see the wheel dart. It feels more like a warped drum. All right, join me on the big cam. right, guys. We're back. Really short test drive. Throttle felt fine. The brakes, like I said, we got a slight pull to the driver. It feels like a warped drum. Can't do anything about that. But I will go back and double check and bleed the passenger side just to make sure that it's bled. It is. It's working, obviously. Also check adjustment on that side because I could have adjusted it and it, by braking, those shoes moved. And well, now it's using extra force to push out. Basically, it's not in, I guess, time with the driver's side. So I'll jack it up. I'm not even going to rack it. Jack it up and do all that. Good news is I was able to feel the pull immediately. So I don't really have to take it out for another drive, to be honest with you. But other than that, I mean, it ran fine. Engine sounds good. All right, fire it up, cold start, hot start. I mean, I don't know what else more you want. The alternator has a whine to it when it starts to charge. Excuse me. Yeah, it's that that high wind. So again, it is what it is, but it is charging. It has a volt gauge, so I'm not worried about that. This thing did have blinkers. They work. Yeah, I think I'll wrap it up. But the wiring, well, as you see it, in this case, as far as my fear is the way it was done, not so much the functionality. The more I look at it, I think everything still works. Put it to you that way. Still not a fan of it, but well, it got us basically around the block. All right, let me wrap this up. Let me double check this side, wrap this video up, and then yeah, I guess exactly what I just said. Let me double check that side and then wrap this thing up. If I end up taking another test drive, I'll leave you guys buckled in right here. You can probably see your ratchet strap. I'll take you out again, but if not, you'll see me on the big cam wrapping this up. Turn that, as an electronic battery disconnect. All right, I'll be back. All right, guys, closing this episode out on the kit car, the model, I don't know, model Ford VWT. Anywho, the kit car. We're going to start this off with saying I am actually happy the throttle cable broke. I know I took it hard in the ending. If you watched the first episode on this car, did take it a little hard as I missed something. All things considered, I'm happy I missed it. Or I didn't even miss it. I'm happy it failed. Due to the fact that the car actually, obviously came back and we were able to address my concerns. I did not realize how important my concerns were until we dove into this thing. Because I released the car. It came in for a runnability issue. It ran and left. My concerns were the brakes sucked and, it leaked oil. Oil wasn't even an issue. I mean, you can monitor that. That's not a thing. The brakes sucking. I'm happy we addressed it because we found out it had the wrong wheel master cylinder. It had a bus cylinder, way too big of a cylinder, master. And also, the more important thing is that beam was loose. Yes, it had its captures in, so those bolts shouldn't technically back out because that's what those plates are for. But with that said, the constant moving of the beam, in and out is putting added stress on where the bolts, the threads of the bolts and the heads. So over time, it might waller out, might snap a head off. Hell, you just might, pull the threads out and lose the beam in general. None of those scenarios are good. The leaky wheel cylinder, obviously not good. Everything's addressed now to the point where is the car 100%? No. But will I drive it? I did. I'm not afraid of it. The electrical still, not my cup of tea. Not saying, anything completely negative about it. The more I looked at it, the more it looked fine, I guess. I didn't feel I was going to rip it out of the car as much as I did on the first one. If I had it in the air the first episode, I could have looked at it more, but I was just taking it, with grain of salt as far as just looking at it, and it just did not seem good. Caveat, I did zip tie a couple things up just to tighten it up so it wouldn't go anywhere because it did seem a little loosey-goosey. But with that said, it's good enough. Everything works on the car. But yeah, car's done. I'm going to let the owner know. Come get it. He's at least not on the way this time. Let him know, come get it. Monitor the brakes. Like I said, it could get better. They might need to be scrubbed in because they don't even look like they were even making contact with the old Master. I'm not going to say I'm for sure, but all that fluid or all that effort might have been going just to the rear wheel cylinders due to the fact that they should be, we didn't open them up, but if they have fronts in the rear, they'd be probably like a 20 bore, 23 bore. So they would be almost equal to what that Master is throwing out, that single Master. And they probably were doing most of the work, and the fronts weren't really doing anything. So the fronts just might need to be scuffed in and re-reminded that they're supposed to stop the car, I guess is what I'm getting at. So with that said, capping off this episode, car's done. It's going to get picked up. Like I said, I don't think I have that many. I have some concerns, injury bill, stuff like that, but nothing that should warrant the car being not enjoyable at this point, I guess is what I'm getting at. So anyway, let me shut up. And you know the drill. If you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you do, I promise you we will chit chat. As always, thanks for watching. Hopefully, see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Hey, there's a cat. Go away. Don't come into the shop.